once you start thinking of yourself as being made of pure energy, then you can realize how much damage trapped emotions can really do.
Welcome to Learn With Us, brought to you by 303andU. We are a team of 4 non-financial advisors who are exploring a revolutionary new financial approach that goes beyond money to prioritize your emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Through weekly meetings and engaging podcasts, we strive to help you improve all aspects of your well-being as well as ours. Come join us on this journey of growth and self-improvement because at 303andU, we believe true wealth extends beyond dollars and cents. Happy learning!
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Learn With Us. Today we are going over The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. We're going over part 2, The Energetic World, chapters 3 and 4. We're going to put them together just because they basically have the same point and we don't want to spend 2 weeks rambling on about it. Hope everybody's having a good week. Chapter 3, Mysteries of the Ancient Energy Healers. We start off with the story about the GDV detector. I don't know much about it, but I have seen that picture before where they cut a leaf in half and it can still show you what the other half looked like perfectly. It's pretty amazing. Some energy field or whatever it is that keeps the leaf together is still there even after it's been cut. He was showing that could lead to humans' energy field, that everything on Earth has its own energy field. He goes into saying that it's alive and active, or no, intelligence, the word he used, but not in the same intelligence as it can, beat you at chess, but something is telling it to stay together, and it's itself. It's his theory, at least.
It says that the Chinese taught this as their qi.
Which I feel like everybody's heard of that one at least. Qi or the feng shui. And you don't want to be blocking your energies or energies in the room. So, we've all heard about this stuff before.
Yeah, and that was his point, was that trapped emotions can distort and block the flow of this energy.
He continues on with what we talked about last week, where your thoughts impact more than just like, oh, that was a quick thought.
They affect everyone and everything around you.
You write it down, it's almost going to become true. So if it's negative, it's going to affect you negatively. He had an example, what was it, ice this time? The ice would freeze, and if you wrote like a good letter, the ice would freeze perfectly in circles. But if you wrote, I hate you on the note and then froze it, the ice would freeze into weird patterns. The note was literally negatively affecting the ice crystals. We continue on to go over a lot of stories that are good. If you get a chance, I recommend you read them. They all keep going over the same point. So we're going to skip ahead a little to the part that is called Message from Water. A Japanese scientist discovered that when water began to freeze, it would turn into patterns, or known as snowflakes. And then when he would play different kinds of music around the water while it was turning into snow, it would change the forms of the crystals. His research showed that he used rock music for an example. It would result in very disrupt crystals, while exposing it to Mozart symphony would result in beautiful formed crystals. So even just the environment,
It's just like the rice story, basically.
I think it's funny. It makes me think of like 80s parents where they're like, that's the devil's music. It almost was in a way. Not in the way like it was letting the devil in, but it was really putting negative thoughts out there, The rebellious rock.
Next, he talks a little bit about the human energy field and how the scientific community has denied it and then accepted it recently.
To go back all the way to Egyptians even, they've been, without the test, they had no way to prove it, but they believed in it. They've always shown it. Oh, I did like that about the radiation they used to poison? Just a slight radiation.
Oh, yeah, to be able to see where the...
Acupuncture, that's the word. Couldn't think of it. The acupuncture would actually work, and if it was hitting nerves that existed or not, because according to like this map of the body, they could see all these nerves, and they're like, those don't exist. But when they use radiation, they could kind of see it, and they put them right in the exact spot, and it would go down like a river, basically, and it would go through the body. But if they just randomly did it, it would just be like puddles all over.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that everybody has the same energy field throughout their bodies.
Some sort of network that is not seen but can be tested for, just like the wind or whatever.
He talks about how all methods of healing are valid and take time, and some people like a quick fix. So then he starts talking about people who go to therapy end up just getting on medication.
And that's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to dull you from feeling the problem. It doesn't well, he said tape on an engine light.
He said that it's like a check engine light.
If you just put tape over it, it's not fixing the engine. It's still warning you.
Yeah. He says that this is your body's way of telling you that something's wrong. It's like a warning sign. And then, which a lot of this is way above our head, and it doesn't really go into too much detail, so.
Yes, we like to stay in our territory, which is the economical side.
So then tells a couple more stories or testimonies from his work or his patients. People who've read his book and learned how to use the emotion code, which we still don't even really know what that is. But he ends up this chapter with saying that ancient healing philosophies were full of truth. He's going to teach us about magnets and how they're one of the most ancient healing modalities on earth and how you can use them with the emotion code. That's in the next chapter, which we're just going to go over that one too.
So the next part is healing with magnets. He starts with saying that everybody has a magnet. On your fridge somewhere, you have a magnet, and it doesn't need to be the kind that can stick to a table and never come off.
No, you can just use a regular magnet.
The point of the magnet isn't really like a physical thing either. It's more of as a wand for like a wizard, it's to help direct your energy of the positive thoughts. Plus the magnet, it like touches your body and your body can feel it, as well as you can mentally prepare yourself for it.
Well, he says that if you use the sway test to ask your subconscious mind what's wrong, and then
What is the sway test, real quick?
The sway test?
You don't remember? It's where you sit in the room by yourself or with someone who's trained, who's read the book before, and you will sit there and you'll ask yourself questions. Like once you're ready and stable, you just stand in the room perfectly still and you'll say, "Is my name Bill?" And then if you start shaking, you want to make sure you're shaking yes. Then once you get yourself attuned to that, you will then ask yourself, why does my back hurt? It's all yes or no, so you can't be like, why, but is my back hurting because of this? And then if you start swaying, you'll be like, oh, okay, it's not that.
It's trying to get in touch with your subconscious.
That is willing to talk to you with the sway test.
So he says, once you figure out that you have a trapped emotion, how do you release it? And the answer is you must use some other form of energy.
In this case is the magnet.
Magnets emit pure energy and are powerful tools that we can use to fix energetic imbalances that we cannot see.
But to go along what we were saying with the radiation, you can test for. So it's not just hoobaloo or...
Well, because he goes on to explain that your existence is magnetic, and it's stretches a lot further than you can see or feel because you're made up of energy. And most people just think that they are their skin and their bones, like that's them, their body. But really, their magnetic and electromagnetic field that like portrays off you is like a 15 feet radius wider than that.
They can test your heart rate and your other vital signs just from around you, not even touching you.
From 8 or 12 feet from your body in all directions, yeah.
That's amazing.
So you are literally a mass of tingly sensations. You're not just this corpse. I don't know what the right
This
word
book is weird to think. It makes you think that we're just pockets of radiation walking around that are, balls of energy. Like the way he describes humans is very, I don't want to say bleak, but it's a funny way to think about life.
And then it says when the human body is exposed to a magnetic field, fascinating and surprising things can happen. Oh, people's illnesses and imbalances have completely disappeared. Pain has diminished.
So if you're like us at home, you're probably a little skeptic. And he was at first too. His brother was the one who led him onto it, telling him, you got to give it a try. And he's like, man, I don't want it. And finally his brother sent him one. He's like, fine, whatever. I'm going to do this for my brother to shut him up, to tell him how crazy he is. And he did it. And this woman felt so much better afterwards. She was like, what kind of mysterious device did you use on me? Where can I buy one? And he's like, what do you mean? This is a magnet.
Yeah, and it talks about how Japanese scientists called MFDS, which is a magnetic field deficiency syndrome. So you can become deficient in your magnetic energy. So just by running magnets back and forth over certain parts of your body, you can actually like heal yourself on some level.
The next part that isn't just stories, we start going over where do the trapped emotions go. And that's a good point, because if everything's an energy, then you know the only way to get rid of an energy is an opposite force. So that's where the magnet comes in. The magnet plus your intentions come in and destroy the pent-up energy that's built up. Just like, basically like a magnet, when you put two of them together, it creates that huge force. And the thing in the middle is your trapped emotion. It just gets destroyed. It was a good analogy, at least for me. I like analogies. If you guys haven't been able to tell by now.
He says that releasing a trapped emotion is similar to the magnetic strip on the back of your credit card. If you place a magnet on it, you might erase the encoded information, destroying the usefulness of the credit card. Well, that's the same thing that you have like an emotional vibration, and that can be erased when you swipe a magnet down the governing meridian, which is the energy flow that we were talking about earlier, like the pattern and sequence of your body.
And for you kids out there, the magnet, those strips aren't a problem you have anymore now, because everything's got a chip. It's a problem us old people used to have to worry about, was magnets touching. He said this before. It was the TV tubes. I think it was in a different way to describe how the flow of energy can be affected. But it's the same idea. The magnets can go in your body and do that to like a tube TV, where it used to give them all them. If you ever seen it, it's like a beautiful rainbow. It's kind of cool. I remember when we were getting rid of our old TV, Dad let me take a magnet to it. So if you're doing that, like there is this energy field inside it that will interrupt your TV. So it's doing that inside your body.
Seems like a good time to point out the conclusion of this chapter. He says a caution about magnets. He just says that they're generally quite considered safe, but there's a few reasons why you shouldn't use them, or talk to your doctor first if you're pregnant, or for pain relief, or yada yada. So
if you have any metal in your body, don't play with a magnet. That's basically what he's saying. If you've had spinal surgery, don't be playing with a magnet, because you have a metal rod back there. So, I mean, if you know there's metal in you, probably should be running a high-power magnet all through you. But
once you start thinking of yourself as being made of pure energy, then you can realize how much damage trapped emotions can really do.
Because if you're pure energy and something's blocking you, you're not at your fullest power. This guy is almost like a sales class you watch on YouTube these days, where you're just about to get enough information, but you got to buy the next course. Luckily, we have the whole book.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to find out what's going to happen, or what I'm learning here.
Now we're going to take what we've learned from the sway test, mix it with the magnet use, pinpoint where the problems are, and hopefully in this next part 3, which is
Part 3, using the emotion code. And it starts with chapter 5, getting answers from the subconscious mind.
Be going over more of what we were talking about with the sway.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get into some deep stuff here. I mean, it's been good, but I want to actually learn how to release
I appreciate
something.
him giving us proof or evidence. Who doesn't want that? But we've gotten enough testimonies. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's definitely more. He's definitely got more than enough stories to corroborate all of his research and his opinion. But I guess I just want to see it in action.
No, as we all do. That's a human trait. It's all talk until it's finally put on the table. I hope everybody joined us then for part 5 or chapter 5.
Yeah, have a good week.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us this week. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion and found it both informative and entertaining. Please stay connected with us and continue the conversation on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also catch us on most podcast platforms and catch up on previous episodes. If you have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to explore in the future, we'd love to hear from you, and you can reach out to us via email at 303nu@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave us a review and share the podcast with your friends and family if you've enjoyed what you've heard. We will be back next week with more engaging topics and insightful conversations. Until then, take care, stay curious, and happy learning.